And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in Switzerland from Qatar on the third leg of his five-nation tour, with the issues of black money and India's membership in the nuclear suppliers group high on the agenda. Today, Modi will hold talks with the president of the Swiss Confederation, during which the issues of black money as well as energy are likely to figure. Now, today's discussions may also veer around renewable energy as well as vocational education. Switzerland is India's fifth largest trade partner and 11th largest investor. And ahead of the Prime Minister's visit to the United States of America, India Today's Gaurav Sawant speaks to Lisa Curtis, Senior Fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Curtis speaks about how US wants India to play a bigger role in South Asia, but also in the Indo-Pacific region as a counter to China. Listen in.
With me is Lisa Curtis, Senior Fellow at the Heritage Foundation, a former diplomat who's lived in India, worked extensively on India. Lisa Curtis, tell us why meeting think tanks is so important in the US here.
Well, I think it's important because think tanks are the thought leaders and they shape and form the opinion on the US-India relationship. So it's very important that he's engaging with them, because they will be writing on India, speaking on India, talking about the relationship, and it provides them an opportunity to ask the questions that they want to ask the Prime Minister. And I think he will do a good job. Well, I think the U.S. will do what it can to support India's membership in the nuclear suppliers group. It's already stated that it supports that. And the question is really, what will it do behind the scenes to try to bring along China, for example, because we know that China has linked its support for India's membership to Pakistan, and that's something that is not going to happen. So the U.S. has to be willing to convince China to drop its opposition to India's membership. And of course, it did this in 2008. But the question is the U.S.-China relationship the same, or is the situation and the context the same as it was in 2008? I don't think so. The U.S. and China have a lot of differences over the South China Sea issue. So I'm not sure that even if the U.S. was willing to do so, that it could on its own convince China to switch. I think that's something that India has to focus on doing. So I think in addition to cooperating directly against the Pakistan-based terrorist groups, we've seen that they've made progress on this terrorist screening center, this sharing of data on terror suspects. And India may become one of 30 countries that has access to this terror database in the U.S. And so that would be quite an accomplishment for the Homeland Security cooperation. So I think that's where we'll see the focus.
Economy, strategy and security. Three major pillars of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the United States, his fourth in the past 2 years. There are legacy issues. What is it that US President Barack Obama brings to the table? This is his last summit-level meeting. What does he intend to give to India and leave as his legacy? Now, strategic experts say there is a big story that's going to come out of there, an enabler for India to be a part of the nuclear high table, the US working overtime along with India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has already had a meeting in Switzerland, trying to get Switzerland on board. Now the effort is to get Mexico on board. Will US work with China like it did in 2008? That remains to be seen. As far as that all-important address to the US Congress here is concerned, Prime Minister's vision for India-US relations, that will be made very clear. Ease of doing business is one part of the story, but that bigger vision, the oldest, the largest and the most powerful democracies, how do they intend to come forward in the times to come, especially when it comes to ensuring peace in the world? Strategic community is very hopeful that India will have a bigger role to play in the Indo-Pacific region. Japan, India, Vietnam, these countries ensuring that sea lanes of communication remain open. As far as the business community is concerned, they are hoping that the Prime Minister will have a much bigger roadmap on how there is ease of doing business in India. 2014, the Prime Minister said India is open to business. There is more inflow of funds. But how do you take it to the next level? And also nuclear energy. Will that 6 Westinghouse nuclear plants come up? in Andhra Pradesh. That is something that everyone's looking forward to. With cameraman Kirpal Singh in Washington DC, Gaurav Sawant for India Today.